Because we're talking about sustainability, and more concretely, we are talking about circular economy. And circular economy is a pretty unknown topic in the electronics industry.
We've taken our material from single layer to 2-layer plated through hole, and things move very quickly within smaller companies. But I think Infineon's always going to be important to us.
What I love in this cooperation is that we are solving problems for the future, solving problems for our society.
This is the podcast for engineers, the podcast you just have to listen to if you're interested in what's going on in the semiconductor market. Today, we're continuing our talk with Jiva Materials. We want to learn more about the startup cooperation with Jiva that's helping us utilize recyclable PCB in our applications. Today, with me, I have Julian Haslberger, who is the Project Manager, Startup Co-Innovation and Sustainability, as well as Jack Herring again, who is the founder of Jiva Materials. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Great. So let's actually learn a little bit more about Jiva Materials. We talked about the product and Soluboard in the past, but I really want to hear your story, Jack. How did you identify that there was a niche market available?
Yeah, it's been a long and exciting journey. So I first came up with the idea for Soluboard when I was at university back in 2017 now. So I was given a brief by my design tutor to identify a waste stream to try and optimise. So I selected electronic waste. It's the fastest growing waste stream in the world, close to 60 million tonnes produced every year. So I decided to look at a very specific part of that, which was the PCB or the printed circuit board. I was looking at the material, looking at the glass fibre, the epoxy resin, and thinking surely there must be some cleaner and more environmentally friendly alternatives to that. So I reverse engineered that, took the glass fibres, replaced them with natural fibres, took the epoxy, replaced it with a biodegradable non-toxic polymer, which also, when combined together, allowed me to take a PCB and dissolve it and recycle it a lot more efficiently than the shredding and incineration process. So off the back of that, I was able to file some IP, went through the university accelerator, raised some money and started the company. And a few years later, the technology has come a long way. Mm-hmm.
Really exciting, and it fits perfectly into our industry here at Infineon. Julian, can you tell us why we decided to approach Jiva about this idea?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, let's start with why are we cooperating with startups in general? Because Infineon has partnerships and innovation in its DNA. So we would like to drive innovation, we would like to accelerate innovation, we want to be a role model in sustainability, and we want to stay a role model in sustainability. And therefore we are constantly improving our own innovation. And we are doing this with partners, with startups, for example. And Infineon founded a startup co-innovation program 5 years ago, where we are actively cooperating with startups in primarily two directions. The first one is that we see startups as future customers. So we as Infineon act as a venture supplier. We are supplying them our components, our knowledge, so they get access to our experts, to our technology, to explore emergent applications and emergent markets. And the other part of this co-innovation program is the so-called venture client model. So we are seeking innovative suppliers, R&D partners like Jiva Materials, to explore the unknown and to get as early as possible all of the innovative suppliers for Infineon to develop new products, to develop our own processes and tools. So that's basically why we are partnering and how we are partnering with startups. Coming to Jiva, this is a pretty interesting topic, and a topic that is close to my heart because we're talking about sustainability. And more concretely, we are talking about circular economy. And circular economy is a pretty unknown topic in the electronics industry. The electronics industry is I would say primarily in a linear model. So we take something, we make something, we use something, we dispose something. Jack already mentioned it, it's a huge amount of waste, and out of these huge amounts, just 17% are properly recycled. And recycling should be the last step in a circular economy. Before we have this recycling, we have new models like reuse, for example. So we can think of how to reuse our components. And those are kind of the unknown spaces we identified. Our colleagues from the Green Industrial Power Division identified those areas where we need knowledge, where we need exchange, where we need know-how transfer between companies. And then they identified one of the early players in the market, Jiva Materials. And this was kind of the starting point of this cooperation. So a need to innovate together.
Mm-hmm. So Jack, what did that look like from your perspective? Who approached who? How did this all work out?
I think it was back in September 2021 we first received a message from Infineon off the back of a publication on a German website, and there was an interest to use our material for the demonstrator power package evaluation boards. So we produced a small order using our the version of the material that was available back then, and we took that product through the recycling process, and Infineon were able to demonstrate that the very valuable semiconductors could actually be recovered and reused in certain applications. So we've had a few projects with Infineon since then, a refrigerator board, and we're engaged with a couple of other divisions of Infineon at the moment.
Okay, yeah. So why was Infineon an attractive partner for you? Why did you decide to go for it?
Everyone in the industry knows Infineon, and the passion that Julian mentioned about the sustainability within the company was very closely aligned with Jiva. We have the same values, and there was always talk of some joint marketing that we could do, and I think that's given Jiva some very valuable exposure within the industry, and off the back of that we've been able to engage with other companies in various different market segments. So we have products and partners within domestic appliances, LED lighting. We've had inquiries from the automotive market as well, and Infineon's been invaluable to Jiva in terms of growing our offering in our portfolio of partners.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned, this is a mutually beneficial partnership, of course. You mentioned the know-how exchange, how you benefited from the knowledge of Infineon and vice versa. Do you have any practical examples of how that came to life?
Yeah, so with the refrigerator board, for example, we supplied some assembled boards to Infineon for some environmental testing, some electrical testing, just to validate the functionality of our material. We put it through some humidity tests and standard electrical tests, which we are now able to share with other partners that we're working with.
Mm-hmm. And you also mentioned visibility. Julian, visibility is a key component of the Co-Innovation Program, right? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I would say the key component of the Co-Innovation Program was already mentioned by Jack, because the major part is know-how transfer between the two parties. You mentioned win-win situations are needed, and both parties try to give their best to a fruitful cooperation. So know-how transfer and working on a technical challenge is the key of the program. But we love to talk about great cooperations like the one with Jiva Materials, and that's the reason why we are offering kind of our visibility, our huge marketing channels as well to successful corporations, not only to talk about the technology, also talk about the cooperation behind, the people behind. And that's the reason why we, as soon as we were ready to prove all the technical requirements, the technical feasibility study and stuff like this, then we decided to go out to the world and let the world know, okay, there are solutions for circular economy. We did a press release, we did some social media postings of the story. It's a pretty nice one, because you can really see how the material dissolves in hot water and how the components are removed from the material and could be reused afterwards. And another format of this Infineon Co-Innovation Program is our Startup Night. So we have an annual event, the Infineon Startup Night, where we invited Jiva Materials, and they did a fantastic pitch, and they won the Best Pitch of the Night award. So that's kind of another vehicle for visibility. Plus, we are extending, or we are giving Jiva and our cooperation partners access to the network. So at the Infineon Startup Night, there are internal innovators, there are external innovators, partners. And I think out of this Startup Night, there was a second step of the cooperation, a second great example how Jiva brought the Soluboard more towards reality.
Yeah. Off the back of the startup night, we were introduced to Hightex, and we produced some boards for them, which we exhibited at Embedded World earlier this year. And yeah, it's been a great partnership. We were able to demonstrate our 2-layer plated through-hole boards for the first time to the public, and it's been a great piece of exposure off the back of that startup pitch.
Yeah, fantastic. I can imagine, and it's maybe a stereotype, but a big established company like Infineon and a fresh young startup like Jiva might not mesh well together. Do you have any thoughts on this? How did we overcome any challenges?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a fair point. A corporation like Infineon is a tanker. Clear direction, sometimes a bit slow, but highly successful in the end. And startups are kind of the speedboats on the same ocean, but driving way faster, innovating way faster, and so on. So there are huge difference between the two companies. But therefore, we have the Infineon Co-Innovation Program to kind of bring two types of boats to the same level. And most importantly, of each and every corporation are the people behind. So the innovators at Infineon and on the startup side are the key drivers for bringing both parties on the same level. They need to have the same vision, do something good, innovate together, and then it's possible. Sometimes there might be delays, but the people behind, they can overcome those obstacles. That's my take on it. How about you?
Yeah, it's good theory. How was it in practice?
Yeah, I think, Infineon has seen where our material started and where it is now, and as the cogs turn within the tanker, as Julian called it, we've taken our material from single layer to 2-layer plated through hole, and things move very quickly within smaller companies. But I think Infineon's always going to be important to us, and we look forward to further opportunities to actually demonstrate our technology and how much it's improving.
And yeah, of course, I think it's key and very important that we both share the same passion for sustainability and moving forward. And this greener future that we're all working towards, what does that look like for Jiva and Infineon? How is this partnership going to further develop?
From Jiva's point of view, we would like to engage in some more opportunities with Infineon. We're aware of the size of the product portfolio of Infineon and the different applications that the components are supplied into, so we can see a huge variety of single layer or 2-layer plated through hole boards in particular at the moment, where we can demonstrate our technology, and further down the line, when we're able to penetrate the multi-layer market with 4-layer boards, then that will open up that opportunity pool even further.
Fantastic. What about from our point of view?
From our point of view, I would totally agree. So regarding this cooperation in general, what I love in this cooperation is that we are solving problems for the future, solving problems for our society. So my future vision is that we for sure have more boards based on Soluboard, but as well to have further cooperations to solve the great challenges of our time, enable circular economy. So basically this is a call to all startups out there to apply for the Infineon Co-Innovation Program on our webpage, infineon.com/startups. And we are eager to explore the future of sustainability, to stay a role model and make our world a world worth living.
Yeah, at least we have a good team working on the same project. Good, thank you both for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
And to our listeners and watchers out there, if you are interested in learning more about the Infineon Co-Innovation Program or about Jiva Materials, we'll leave some links in the description. Thanks for listening.